Hello, welcome to the 199 Unlisted podcast. My name is Frank. I'll be sitting here talking to you for a few minutes. As usual, wearing clothes, wearing a pullover I got from JCPenney off the clearance rack. I believe this cost $2. So YouTube sent me an email and they deleted a video I had that I put up in January. And the video was about this article, and I'm not sure because it was political, because I can't tell you how many videos YouTube has taken down of mine that, was more right leaning. And I think, and they can say anything they want because they didn't give an example. They said the video was taken down because it went against their terms and policies, whatever, and they earmarked the spot where I broke the rules, and I played it, and it was just a clip of me laughing. But the video was about this dude right here, because as you can see, it says this young man slams ice in fiery Instagram post. Okay, so how can you not like ice? And see, this person right here who lives in a beachfront property, owns security team, this person is safe no matter what. Even though it's not a gated community, there's still a God, I saw like the helicopter view of his house, and there's like a security section, so like 24-hour guards, the whole nine yards. So this country could go to hell, and this person's life wouldn't change. So when this person talks about Renee Good, who hit an ICE agent with their car and takes Renee Good's side, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. And this person's just saying what the people who are in charge of Hollywood say, and the record industry, because it leans crazy left. It's the kind of people who think men can have babies. These are the kind of people that have pronouns in their bio. They think gender is a social construct. These are people that if they were in charge, the whole country would literally be on fire. But if the people who run YouTube are leaning that way, then if you say something against it, they can totally take your video down. It makes sense. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with COVID. There were several studies that said masks don't work. Okay, and so if you said that, they took your video down because the people in charge wanted everyone to be scared, and so like, oh yeah, like you got to wear 2 masks, even though the virus is 1,000 times smaller than the holes in the mask. And those are facts. Though those aren't my opinions. But same thing with the Biden laptop. I was talking about the Biden laptop and how it was real. Those videos got taken down. I got kicked off of Reddit. I lost a Facebook account. But the laptop is real. But if it goes against the narrative, the lie, all those conspiracy theories that came out true, yeah. But anyway, so I'm gonna do the video again. Okay, so, and I'm basing everything on this person's career so far. So when you first come out as an artist, your first impression is gonna probably stick with you for the rest of your career. That's why Britney Spears can act like the way she acts right now and still has a hardcore fan base. If Britney Spears put out an album right now, it would it would at least go platinum for sure. It would definitely go platinum. And in all her hardcore fans' minds, she is still considered a sex symbol. I mean, I've had girlfriends who were got they were like kids when Britney Spears first came out. So we're talking, you know, 'cause I'm older, so I was God, I was like 19 when Britney first. I mean, I'm not talking about the Disney Channel stuff. Just like when she first came out, I was like 18 or 19, and so like later on in life, like in like 20 years later, I was dating girls who were like, you know, like in elementary and middle school when Britney Spears came out, and they told me back then they thought Britney Spears was like the most beautiful woman on the in the world, like the sexiest woman, and they just wanted to be like her. And that same image they had of Britney, they still have it now when Britney's like this deranged mental patient. But it's just because Britney had a great first impression, and it counterbalanced her. You know, she's not a bad singer, but she's not a good singer. Like, you know, it's like she could keep a tune, but like if I'm gonna have an all star team of singers, I'm not putting Britney Spears in this group based on singing, but you know I will put it based on looks and, you know, the visuals, you know, the overall appeal. You know, she has charisma and all that stuff. Okay, but then you have this dude, this guy I have on screen. Okay, so you know, you if you compare Britney Spears to this guy, there's a there's a stark contrast in visuals. Stark contrast. And Britney now in her 40s is still better looking than this guy and he's in his 20s. And that's saying something. But you would think if this person was smart, he would have come out like Britney Spears did for his first album, you know? Because like he had the body for it for sure, you know. And so that is one of the reasons why I just don't respect this person's opinion, because they make bad life choices. I know, and it's really well, you know, because you should surround yourself with people who are going to be honest. Be like, listen, you have a face for radio, okay? Why don't we show off everything below the neck because that looks good? I mean, like, read the comments on this guy's like photos and like Instagram vids when they're showing other body parts. It's like, you know, 5-star rating, you know. But you know, like when you look like an Afghan, it just doesn't work, you know. So, and then like you have to be self aware. Like he doesn't know that, you know, he looks like a guy that sells acid at Woodstock. And so you're like, you know, I don't want this person's I don't want this person's political opinion. I don't know how you think that it's okay to hit a person. It doesn't matter if the person's a cop or CIA or FBI or a firefighter or a teacher. It doesn't matter who the person is. If you think it's okay to hit someone with your car, you are deranged. You're out of touch. But now this person thinks it's okay to hit someone because I don't like who they're arresting. That makes no sense. ICE is going after, obviously, illegals, illegal aliens. But the first ones on their list are the ones with criminal records. You know, rapists, murderers, people who commit violent crimes, people who commit like child trafficking. Renee Good was defending because I saw the list of illegal aliens they were going after, and it was a lot. Okay, and it was a lot of child trafficking and a lot of like violent crimes. So Renee Good thought it was a good idea to hit someone with their car because that person was going after, or that group anyway, was going after violent criminals who weren't even American citizens. And this person on screen is taking the illegal alien side. Now, you know what? If it was Britney Spears saying that, it would actually get a pass because in the back of your mind, like, yeah, but Britney's hot though. I kind of don't care what she says. She's hot because that the the sex symbol Britney Spears still to this day outweighs all the crazy shit and all the dumb shit she's ever said. This is why when it comes to like your first album, I've said this. I don't know how many times I've said this, but your first impression can define your career. How many weird videos has Britney Spears put out on Instagram where she's dancing with knives? And you read the comments, it's like nothing but just glazing her. Glazing her. She's staring at the camera like she's been up for 5 days and did like an 8 ball. Like she looks insane. But still in the back of your mind you're like, yeah, but she's hot though. So like when this dude says something stupid, the only thing I think is, guy, you're like really stupid, and there's like nothing to counterbalance it, you know, because his songs aren't good enough for that. He sings just as good as Britney Spears. There is no Britney Spears could sing every song he sings. It would sound the same. Like there's nothing groundbreaking about anyone's music. Okay. No, I'm under the impression Britney didn't write any of her songs. I'm just under the impression. The lyrics to this guy's songs, they're not groundbreaking either. So I'm not impressed if he did write the songs. But anyway, but see, and then another thing, it whether you're either way on the political aisle, the whole ICE thing shouldn't even be a political issue. Shouldn't every American want illegals out of the country? Because our tax dollars get wasted on this. See, once again, rich people's opinions about politics is pointless because they people like this guy represent like 0.001% of the population. The average American is poor to middle class. That is the chunk of America. Like I'm talking like the biggest chunk. I can look it up, but I mean we're talking like 90% of America. It's poor. It's okay. So 82% of American adults earn less than 100K a year. Now, because I've heard people say that I can barely get by on 100K a year. That's why I use that number. Okay, so I've heard people say I can barely get by on 100K a year. Okay, so if that's the case, but that's 82% of America. There's 350 million people in America. Okay, this dude is worth millions. So obviously, this person's yeah. Okay. So this person's opinions do not represent the average American. And also, most of the people protesting are paid protesters. Now, we know this. We know that they're paid protesters. But see, the media, the mainstream media, won't say that because then it ruins the narrative. Now, they have independent news sources and more right leaning news sources that do tell you that these protests are being funded by, and then they usually always go back to George Soros, but it's like a company he's involved with. So once again, this whole movement on the left is fabricated, and it represents a very small percentage of America. Do you think this guy knows anything about what the average American goes through? No. So why would you listen to this person's opinions anyway? Now, if you're a fan, and you know how fans are, I'm sure there's a lot of little kids who can relate to this person's music, and because of that, they blindly agree with everything this person says, and that's horrible. Because in America, we do worship celebrities. Well, some people, younger impressionable people, do. And so we need to call idiots like this out. But then people like this get protected by large platforms. I think I think I'm doing a great service by calling this out. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if they take this video down. Even though I'm not saying anything out of line, they're just opinions. But the people in charge determine which opinions are allowed. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Peace.